Welcome to Whiskey and Whitetails, the show for all the things your husband likes and your beta boyfriend doesn't. I'm Gus.
I'm your beta boyfriend, Matt.
Welcome to the show. We have a good one for you today. First, we want to thank the Waypoint Network for having us. Thank our Patreon for all their loyal support and all of their help with producing this show and all the things that we do. And of course, you, the listener, for all of your support, sharing, liking, commenting, and all those things. We are forever grateful for it. And of course, we are forever grateful for all the friends and folks that we have made in this industry, including our friends at the Vantage Point Archery. Matt, you want to tell them about Vantage Point?
Yeah. I'm actually holding a couple right here. This was not even planned. Look at these beautiful broadheads. If the camera would focus. It's not going to. So these are made from solid steel, and they're badass, and they're sharp, and they work well, and they fly great. I embedded one into a tree on John's Island just to do it.
I was going to ask, did you guys shoot? Did you shoot those, or did you shoot field points on the 3D course?
I shot field points, but I did shoot through a bear's neck.
Nice.
I went through the neck and into a tree, and I was like, sick. So I left it there. But they're dope. They're sick. They're made in America by awesome people.
Yeah.
And they're changing stuff up over there right now. But you should you should definitely go look at it. I mean, if you shoot broadheads, you shouldn't be shooting expandables anyway. But single bevels, double bevel, 3-blade, 4-blade, 2-blade. They got turkey blades. They have everything. They got thumpers if you want to get thumpers for some squirrels.
Yeah, and I want to harp on what Matt mentioned. Their flagship broadheads are milled from a single piece of steel. Yeah. So there's not multiple pieces that are screwed together and put in place. They owned a machine shop before they got into broadheads. They know their stuff and they do a great job. That's a cool, awesome group of people that are supporting and making American manufacturing jobs and keeping that in the United States, which is great because I actually had a conversation with my 8-year-old who asked me, "Daddy, how come so many things are made in China?" And I said, "Let me talk to you about capitalism." And we talked about the value of American jobs and why they're important, but also the reason why corporations send jobs and things like that overseas. It was an important lesson to learn, but these guys are keeping jobs in the United States, and I think it's great.
Yeah. That way we're not subject to tariffs. Look at this idiot right here. Oh, Jeff. Jeff. There he is.
You have a dog on your desk.
Yeah. Stupid cat. He's 25 pounds. I weighed him 2 days ago. It's a big ass cat, dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Episode 199. That means the next episode is 200, and we talked about it in the beginning here, so you'll hear that update in a second.
Yep, but this episode we talked about traditions, just traditions in whiskey and hunting and the military, kind of how they all tie together and the importance they play in the community. So check it out. Hope you enjoy it. If there's any comment you have or something that you do, something that you or your family do that's a cool tradition, shoot us a message on wherever, Instagram or shoot me an email and let me know about it.
Or leave a comment on the video.
Or leave a comment on the video.
Or leave a review if you're not watching on YouTube. If you're a audio listener, which the majority of you are, leave a review. Tell us your favorite hunting tradition. We'd love to know. Love to know. All right. That's all I got.
Bye. Or not bye. Enjoy.
We may have mentioned it in the opener, but this Friday, we're doing our episode 200 live Friday at 8 o'clock, I believe. Eastern Standard Time.
Correct.
And that will be live on YouTube. And we might put it on Instagram. I don't know. But it'll be there. You can join in. We got a bunch of guests calling in. I need to make a note to send everyone that information.
Yep. And we're doing it co-host style with
Whitetail
Distraction guys. So hanging out with those dudes and shooting the shit, hanging out with our friends, calling in, hanging out, telling stories, telling lies, all that fun stuff.
Yep. It's probably going to be about 2 hours long-ish. So
I just cleared the rest of my evening. Not that there's a whole lot going on after 8 anyways, but
probably drinking, having a good time. It'll be fun. You can at least tune in. And then if you're busy Friday night, then you can check it out whenever. It'll be on YouTube. And then I guess the episode will come out Monday morning. Per usual.
Yep. That'll be the norm.
Excuse me. All right.
Oh,
We want to talk about traditions, right?
yeah, we're gonna just go over. I don't remember where I got the. I think I saw a post somewhere. Somebody had. That's what it was. You posted something in our Discord about. I don't remember what the topic was. It was related to something that somebody was
So
twisting
it was the
the blood.
shooter,
Oh, that's right.
the shooter in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article where they had a picture of the shooter with blood on his face, and they were discussing how savage that is. Which that's a hunting tradition. It's called being blooded, and I believe all of us that hunt were at one point blooded, and it's just so I put it in there as like a FYI. If you have kids and you do this, just know that if there's pictures of it out there someday, it could be twisted into making you look like a serial killer when in fact you are not.
Right. So here's an example.
Yeah.
I've seen it many ways. Sometimes it's just a little bit on the finger or thumb on the forehead or cheek. I've seen people get their head dunked in a gut pile. But that's kind of what we're talking about. And that was the story I saw. And it got me thinking about this stuff. And I was like, both. So traditions run very deep in both. How do you stop sharing? There you go. Traditions run super super deep and rich, both in hunting and in the whiskey industry. Like you go back to the very beginning of whiskey, and there's things that were going on and that that industry was doing then that still happens today.
Hmm.
Branding barrels and all those kind of things. And so I just thought it'd be fun to talk about.
Yeah. Um, I wrote a few like military traditions down because that's we were talking about that as well.
Yep.
Just like there's all kinds of traditions that link into stuff, and it's funny because the United States military, however, especially the Army, it was started by George Washington, who was a Freemason. So there's a lot of Masonic traditions inside the military, and the officers' creed is almost word for word one of the creeds for one of the levels of Freemasonry as well, which
Oh,
I
I didn't
found
know that.
interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities and things. But like some of them are things that people wouldn't even consider. Like one was when you're walking with someone that is a higher rank than you, they're supposed to stand in front of you to the right. And the reason why is because you have their back, but you can also draw your sword to be able to defend them. So they're to your right. You would be able to pull your sword out and protect them. Saluting is one of them. The bugle calls, we do reveille in the morning and retreat in the evenings when you put the flag up and down.
Hmm.
The Navy also has a lot of cool ones for when you cross different lines.
Yeah.
They have the shellback ceremony.
Right.
They have a golden shellback, golden dragon, and there's like two more. Blue
And
nose.
almost all of those have traditional or traditional tattoos in the Navy that go along with that. So like if you achieve one of those milestones, like there's a particular thing that you usually get a tattoo of. One of
Right.
them, it's supposed to go on like one on each foot, I think, or one on each leg. I forget what it is exactly. I want to say it's two different animals, but they have some. Yeah, the Navy has a lot of really cool traditions like that.
Yeah. The Army doesn't really have anything cool like that. Most of the Army stuff is just getting your ass kicked and a lot of pain.
Yeah,
You go through some pain and you get some cool stuff on the other end of it. But
yeah. The Yeah, so I mean, the military has a ton of traditions. I wonder what traditions the Space Force has. They haven't yet.
clean the
You think they do this?
yeah.
Have
They
I
have
ever
to like,
told you? Have I
and then
ever told?
they lock or something.
Did you ever happen to go to the when you were active duty? Did you ever happen to go to the cybercom facility? I think it's in Fort Belvoir or around
Um,
that area.
I went to Fort Belvoir all the time, but I don't know what building that is.
So I went there for a briefing. This was years ago, and we had to go into a skiff for the last briefing. And if you don't know what that is, it's just a very secure area. And the the amount of imagery and inspiration that from obviously nerds that were making and designing these spaces was unreal. The door to this skiff opened like a door on Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, the the command like logo for that command was no shit the Star Trek logo with some other stuff wrapped into it that was more
Yeah.
military. And so like they had this whole like Star Trek thing going on. It was really funny.
I would remember that. No, I haven't seen that. I where I work now, there's a lot of nerds, and it is funny to see. Like for instance, one guy has the Jump to Conclusions game from Office Space.
Yeah.
Like he
Nice.
has that hung up in there, but a lot of them have like weird nerdy things that some of it I don't even get. But
Well, I find that that's what you just said that you don't get. I find that we're getting to that age in our career where we have jokes and inspirations and things that we show off or talk about that these younger generations have no idea what it is.
yeah, I'm sure. That's one thing that I hate about the military tradition is the whole coin thing. I was never into it, but that is a huge thing at where I work because of all the veterans. Like most of them have some kind of coin display.
Yep.
And they're cool. I mean, I just never got into it. But it's a very common thing in the military to have the challenge coin thing.
Yeah. Everybody
I don't
always
have any problem with it. I just personally don't. I
just never got into it.
Nah.
Yeah. I think my dad, and he was in 20 years, and I think he has it's a box about, I don't know, 4 inches tall, 6 inches wide with coins in it. He just tossed them in a box. And there's cool shit in there from like other units in Israel, the CIA, all kinds of cool letter agencies. And but he's just like, oh, whatever, toss it in a box.
Yeah.
No nice display, no covers on them or anything.
Where are those at?
I've got them if you want to check them out sometime.
Yeah, I would love to go through them. That's cool.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of stuff that I don't think you've ever got to just look through. It's all here because we cleaned out our storage unit. I'll have to gather some of it together and we'll get together sometime and drink some beers and look through all of it. Let you take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm down. I bet he does have some cool. I wanted to see if he had any spear ones.
Oh, I guarantee he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as traditions go, so you talked about some of the military stuff. What traditions have you or did you do when you were a kid that were related to hunting?
So
you got blooded.
One thing I thought about it was I think hunting in itself is the tradition. It's like that is a tradition that is passed down. Not a lot of people do it, and I think everything that has to do with hunting, whether that be scouting or I think it's like that's part of the actual tradition.
Yeah, sure.
But that being said, I think I didn't really get taught very many. One of the ones that I think probably the most common would be the thanking the animal. So like once you kill an animal, like you kind of give a minute and put your hand on it and thank it. I know that people will usually give the first piece of meat to another animal or leave something behind for another animal to eat. I think I save casings, not really intentionally.
I do that too.
I've got them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but
just like those coins from my dad, they're in a box or a drawer somewhere, scattered here and there. Yeah, same way.
Other than that, I mean, I think I know people that will do the snack sticks thing. Like they will bring meat from their kill last year to
that's cool
to hunt. So like their first hunt, they will eat something from last year's kill. I know people that hang the testicles on a tree after you kill a big buck.
Nice.
I did that once.
It bring you any good fortune or no?
No, I wanted the nut sack, and so I ended up I know it sounds crazy, but it's extremely soft, and no one knows what it is. But I stitched it into a gear knob lever when I was in high school, so I had like my gear shifter knob.
That's what I did. The first place my mind went to use it for was a gear shifter.
I get girls in there and be like, touch that, and I'm like, wow, that's soft, and I'm like, it's a deer. And I'm like, wow, it's a deer. And like, I thought deers were brown and blah. I was like, well, that's his nutsack. And everybody's like, ugh. Yeah, like, they don't realize it's been, I tanned it. It's been heavily processed. But
right.
I don't even know that tanning it is the correct word, but I did soak it in some shit.
No, I think you're spot on though. I was looking through, so deeranddeerhunting.com did an article about this, and they just took quotes from people, try to kind of read through some of what some of these different people's traditions are. And I'll talk about some of the ones that I was taught or have, participated in the past. But what you'll notice is that a lot of these are just activities that surround the process of hunting. So it's, one of them was like, every year we get to camp the night before and we all wake up at 4:30 a.m. We have a big breakfast together and we kick off the hunting season. I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, but like you're just there doing the thing. And
Yeah.
all these things are really focused around camaraderie, right? And
Right.
so, um, you know, uh, my brother. This one says, my brother, my brother and I grow beards for the season.
That's very common too. I know a lot of
Yeah,
that's a
our
lot of
late
people do
father
that.
and grandpa told us it is bad luck to shave before a hunt. I got 3 whitetail deer this season. Things like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I like how
go out,
that's one thing that's fun is like how people give you their tradition and then they verify it by saying how many deer they killed.
right. That's the only one
See,
I've
it
seen like
worked.
that so far. But right, yeah, exactly. This one's just talking about we get there the week before deer season opens, and we spend the week tending the stands with as little pressure as possible. It says, and then we hang out and cook on our wood stove and play games and just hang out. I'm like, that's deer camp. That's exactly what
Right.
it is. This one says we always eat lunch out in the woods. You can't shoot deer sitting at a table. All right, that's cool.
Great.
Um, but the ones that were really fascinating were the ones that were focused around post kill. And the reason I find these fascinating, and the reason that I wanted to ask you about military traditions, because I feel like a lot of these traditions are root. I can't get this fucking mouse to select the edge of this window.
Nice.
What the fuck, Windows? Come on. Um, the These are all things that happen that are rituals after the hunt, right? So think about hunting parties, millions of years ago, or
Mhm.
even thousands of years ago. But also think about war parties, or tribes that were warring, or even the Spartans, or Genghis Khan's, like whomever. They went out to a war and they fought a battle. They came back, and there was camaraderie in that, right? They shared a meal, they shared drinks. Same with hunting, right? So the list of the ones here that they have: drinking alcohol, whiskey and whitetails. That was sort of the premise of what started this company.
Yeah.
Blooding, which we talked about, right? You have to have like animal dead first. Eating the animal raw, the heart raw, or liver, or tenderloins. I don't know if I've ever eaten the liver or the tenderloin. I don't know if I'd eat the tenderloins raw from a deer. I might, I guess. I don't know.
I,
You already mentioned this one, giving an audible or silent thanks, tribute, prayer to the animal. Are you sure you didn't read the same article? Hanging the buck's penis, testicles, and scrotum from a branch near the gut pile.
never heard of the
Um,
penis, but
yeah, they've got some other ones where they have some shouts or some chants that they say that some of these folks are from other countries. But yeah, these are all really cool things. And I grew up hunting. I didn't start hunting whitetail until I was in my early 20s. I grew up hunting small game and fishing a lot. So there's a lot of fishing traditions we could get into. Not bringing a banana on the boat. Who's should be first on the boat, who should be last off the boat. When and when to cast. All these different things. But hunting, I didn't have a whole lot of traditions that were passed to me from hunting because we just didn't hunt a ton. Being a military brat, we traveled around a lot. We got stationed in different places. We lived on base almost everywhere, and you can't have firearms on base. So, Dad stored all of his firearms home in Louisiana until we got back. In the early or late 90s when we returned home from living overseas. So a lot of the traditions that I've learned related to hunting, I learned on my own just by being around other people. It wasn't my dad or grandpa that blooded me. It was a friend that it was Gabe actually.
oh, nice.
Uh, and it wasn't even my first deer. It was my first buck. So I killed my first deer by myself. Nobody else was around. Um, but that, and giving thanks, like you said, I've always, if I'm able to, if I field dress the deer, I always leave the guts or something there for animals, right? It's kind of a whole circle of life thing. You don't want to waste anything. I'm not gonna, if it doesn't get left out there, it's gonna get dumped in a dumpster, or incinerated somewhere. So might as well give it back to some animals to eat and
Hmm.
munch on. And heck, if you're lucky enough, you might even be able to just leave it out there and come back the next day at night and knock out a few coyotes.
Yeah.
But
I know a
I
lot of
think,
people that hunt over gut piles.
yep, yep. But so I mean, traditions are what they are. There's all different kinds, and they vary by country. They vary by hunting style. We've done some upland bird hunting, right? It's very traditional, and it's for quail hunting groups to have a big lunch like in the field. Like someone brings a meal out, and you sit and share drinks and a meal in the middle of the field or in the wherever it is you're hunting, and then you go back to hunting and run on the dogs. Those are things that are very particular to certain types of hunting. Duck hunting, there's tons of waterfowl. There's all kinds of traditions and um, nah, what's the other word I'm thinking of? Not traditions, but oh man, superstitions.
Oh yeah.
Superstitions, things you don't do, right? I guess that was more of what I was referring to on the fishing stuff with the banana on a boat. But
Are there any deer superstitions? I don't really. I know there's a lot for
good
fishing.
question. Um, I don't know, man.
I never even thought
It's
about that.
well, it's funny because maybe not superstitions, but definitely like methods of doing things. People are very passionate about like their scent control or their um, the use of certain attractants, whether they work or not. Some
Yeah.
swear by certain things, and others are like, "That's absolute horseshit." Um,
Well, I mean, it's like we know people that swear by what's that shit called? That's made from ragweed.
oh, the nose jammer.
Yeah, nose jammer. Swear by it, won't hunt without it. It's
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
I mean, I've hunted with it and seen deer. I've also hunted without it and seen deer. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's inconclusive for me, but that's okay. Um, but one of the things to talk about was that I want to talk about with regard to traditions is like, and I want, and this was the angle I was curious about from the military perspective is how much do you think traditions play a part in morale and keeping people engaged and in good spirits, especially in the military when you're in some shitty places sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. It's like traditions and like creeds. Like I can still remember. I can still remember like the soldier's creed.
Hmm.
I'm an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. Always place the mission first. I'll never accept defeat. I'll never quit. I'll never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional.
Nice.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier. But it's like they drill that into your head in basic training, and then
Becomes your
you're all just it becomes kind of like your internal ethos.
yeah.
But it's definitely like people know them too, like the standby, hurry up and wait,
Hmm.
standby to standby.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
sure.
it's it's a huge part of the camaraderie because it's like we're all here suffering together is kind of the main
Yeah,
thing.
and that's the
And that's one
biggest
of the
thing.
I was gonna say that's a big thing about hunting too. Like we're all
Hmm.
out here broke because of how much shit we had to buy, and and it's sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's raining. Like I'm going hunting this weekend while I'm in Kentucky, and it's
Hmm.
that tropical storm's coming through there. So it's gonna be raining like crazy the entire
Yeah,
time. Um, sucks when we're soaking wet and miserable, but at least I'll be in a tree.
that's true. It'd be a good time. The yeah, there's something about suffering with a group that makes it a lot easier to deal with, but also seems to create better memories.
Yeah,
Like if everything's just easy and it goes well, it's like, well, that was cool. But
yeah.
like when it's tough and you got to suffer through some things, it tends to bring out sometimes the worst in people. But a lot of times, I think it brings out if you're with the right people, the best in people, and it can make for a good time, even though the situations are pretty crappy.
Unless
The
you drowned on a river.
That's true. Don't drown in a river. Don't do dangerous things with drunk people.
Yeah, stupid. Valuable lesson.
But I think one of the things I read was like how important, and it was a discussion more or less, but like what role do hunting traditions play in recruiting and keeping new hunters, right? Because we've talked about on this podcast before the number of hunters that are in this country and whether or not it's declining or what that impact is. And I think true to your points about traditions and things in the military, I think psychologically they play a similar role in hunting, in that they promote and drive camaraderie, right? So that's when a new hunter comes to deer camp for the first time and they see all these things. Some of it's a little bit like, whoa, you just hung a deer's nuts on a tree. That's kind of weird. Or you want to put that on my face? You want me to eat? You take a bite of that heart? That's crazy. But when you have a group of people together and you do it together as part of it, you become a member of that community, and it's something that you share with those people that nobody else in the world does. Or maybe, and so I think that becomes, it helps form a bit of an identity of who you are as an outdoorsman and as a hunter. And when you're young and impressionable, those things become things that you become core memories, if you will. You know what I mean? So I think they play a huge part in maybe not recruiting, or maybe it does, but definitely retaining and keeping hunters in the community.
Yeah. When we went sword fishing.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a tradition that, like we already talked about the fishing thing, but it's like something I never thought that I would do. But I was like, and even telling the story after, people are like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, it is. And I never thought I would do it. But in the moment, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm next. Let me do it. But you catch a swordfish, you pull their eyeball out, and their eyeball's the size of a baseball. But you hollow it out and you pour whiskey in it and you take a shot out of the eyeball. And it's like, yeah, it tastes like fish. It was disgusting. But, it's a cool memory. It's like you can pass that on to other people. Nobody thinks it's cool. Everybody thinks it's weird. But, in the moment when you're doing these traditions, there is a shit ton of camaraderie, but it helps you feel close to each other. Like you did something with this person that, like, for instance, us dragging a deer out the wrong way in North Carolina that one time. Yeah, they were having a hard time dragging this deer out, and it sucked. And then we get back, and we're like, "Oh shit, we were dragging it backwards. Didn't even realize it."
We had a ways to go. In our defense, it was uphill both ways, and
it was actually uphill.
It was actually like it was.
I don't know how.
But we just grabbed a leg and started pulling, and we didn't really pay much attention to what we were doing, and rubbed all the hair off one side. Fine, whatever. But yeah, I agree. I think when you do something like that together, like the fish thing, right? You can tell that story, and everyone's like, whatever. But if you tell that story and bring it up with the people you're on that boat with, I bet it'd kick off an hour plus conversation of all the good times you had and who did what, and can you believe you did this? And like there's
phones come out and start showing videos of shit that we did. Like
and that's what it's all about. That's what deer camp's about. That's what hunt camp's about is and we facilitate that, I think, through these traditions. I think that's why they're important.
And even for us, like we had Patreon come out and we all drank way too much. And then we went duck hunting the next morning and stretching through the swamp and waders. I think everybody puked except me. Pretty sure. Like Brian was puking like crazy.
Yeah, Matt, if you never drank with Matt and then gone hunting or done something the next day, Matt has a fucking knack for tying one on worse than anybody else. He'll be
wrecked.
Just totally wrecked. And everyone's like, ugh, he's going to be sleeping in early or sleeping in late. Somehow he's the first one up.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is puking and he's fine. So I don't know if you sneak off and puke behind when no one's watching.
I'm not a puker.
Or if you're just built different, man. I don't know. But
I think I got it all out of the way when I was like 18, 19. Because I can remember people making puke sounds and it would make me puke. Because Black Chris used to do it all the time. He'd come up behind me and be like, whoa. And if I was drunk, I would just immediately vomit. But I think I'm done. I think I haven't puked. I've like burped and spit up a little bit, but I haven't actually puked. I've been too drunk before and tried to make myself puke and couldn't.
Yeah. I've puked from being sick. The last time I puked from drinking was when we did that Halloween podcast. No.
It was in Kentucky.
It would have been Kentucky. Yep, that's right. Yeah. And I thought I was almost through that day too. And to be honest with you, I felt for whatever reason, puking made me feel worse. I was fine that morning. I felt good. And then once I puked, it was like my stomach and head just felt like crap the rest of the day. I really wanted to eat that burger that Patrick got, but I just could not eat it.
I'll never forget how hot Rocco's head was.
Dude, yeah.
It was like
we didn't even make
it like steam, like it looked like a nuclear power plant coming on top of his head.
It was sweating and just like this steam rolling up. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But that sounds miserable to people, staying up too late, drinking too
Right.
much, and then getting up early to hunt and then being sick. Like, but in reality, that's fucking deer camp, dude.
That's deer camp, but it's also a small part of it, right? And it those little stories we joke about, but they snowball into the other things that we've done there and other good times we've
Yeah.
had, meals we've shared, game we've gone out there and spent weekends just doing things around camp and not hunting and still had a fantastic time. So, Camp Hero itself has a number of great traditions. They have their youth hunt that they do, and Gavin and I were there last year doing his Eagle project when the youth hunt was going on, and that might have been one of my favorite trips there. And I wasn't even hunting, but watching all these youth get up early in the morning and go out, and it was cold, man. It was not great weather. It rained, it was cold, and these kids from like ages 7 up to 15 and 16 were out there in this weather, cold, and just busting deer, dude. Every afternoon and evening, they were just hauling in deer. And at one point, they had like 8 deer hung up in the barn, just cleaning deer and having a good time. Everybody was learning something. It was cool. And yeah, so traditions. That's I didn't have a whole lot to go on, but I thought it would be cool to touch on that and sort of draw some of the connections. We didn't
Yeah.
really talk about we haven't really talked about any traditions in whiskey, but there's tons of them out there. I mean, distilleries have distilleries have built their entire reputation, around traditions, or that's what they'll tell you anyways,
Yeah.
because they've all got the best story.
Well, I think it's like every like the barrel number. If they
Mhm.
have like their first barrel, their 100th barrel, their 1 millionth barrel, like they have all those sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably empty at this point, but
Sometimes I wonder if it's really that barrel or they just grabbed one and we're like,
yeah, that me too, man. I
"Oh,
think
oh shit, we got what barrel are we at? Go grab one. We'll call it our 1,000th."
yeah,
Something
this
like
is
that.
our 1 millionth barrel. It's like, is it though? You've sold 1 million barrels? I just can't believe that. When did you open?
Yeah,
4
right.
years ago. There's no fucking way this is your 1 millionth barrel. Do you remember who I'm talking about?
I have an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of barrels, and October 5th, if you're a veteran or you know a veteran that lives in the Charleston area or near Columbia, we're going to Columbia. We have one spot open for a barrel pick. It's for veterans only. It's being released on Veterans Day. Pretty badass label, I gotta say. Tiffany from Bourbon and Tiffany's. I don't have a way to quickly get these images up here, so I'm not going to.
It's all right.
But she's making they're doing a full custom label like just for this release, and then we're doing a back label, and we're partnering with Rendezvous with Destiny, and it's a badass like chick angel with nods on and an M4. It's gonna have be like holding a bottle of whiskey. It's pretty sick. It's gonna be a really cool bottle, really cool sticker, and the front label will be completely custom made. They're doing it.
Nice.
We're calling it. I don't want to fuck this up. We're calling it. They not like us. All right. It's called Jesus Christ, Battlefield Bourbon. It's a strong,
Bourbon.
bold whiskey. Well, it'll be a bourbon that honors the courage and resilience of military veterans with a name that reflects the grit and brotherhood forged in service. We honor the battlefield of our life. We honor the battlefield of life our veterans face after years of service. So that's what it's called. But yeah, we have one spot open. So if you're a veteran, want to go, info at whiskeyandwhitetails.com.
Hit me up.
Yeah, whiskey traditions. So did you write any down?
I focused on the hunting stuff, and I just kind of forgot about whiskey traditions, but I'm sure they're easy to find.
Well,
unless you got some already. And we don't really have to talk about whiskey traditions either.
well, there's a lot like in the production of it. I don't know how much there is in drinking. Like there is one, for me, for instance, I always tap the bottle, which is I learned it's a nod to like an Irish cheers. So in Ireland, they don't like cheers and then drink. When you do a cheers to something, like you're cheersing and then you sit the drink down and you talk about what you're like. If you're doing a cheers to your friend that died, you would like
Mhm.
cheers and you'd put the drink down and then you would talk about it. And then you would take a drink. So it's kind of like a nod to that, to where you're going cheers and then you're tapping and then going up to drink.
Okay.
Which I thought was cool. And that's probably the only reason I really do it, but it is more of a superstition, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe there's probably another discussion to be had is, where do you draw the line between what are traditions and what are superstitions? And maybe they're both. Maybe some are both.
Yeah. Like, what
Yeah.
is the difference between a tradition and a superstition?
I think the tradition is something that is grounded in some sort of event or um, I don't know, activity that
Yeah.
you do to honor that thing. Whereas the other is a superstition is something that you feel you have to do in order to achieve a specific outcome or to avoid an outcome.
Yeah.
But they can certainly be done together and be what something can be both, I think.
Yeah. It's, I guess like some of the traditions here would be like, for instance, like the Kentucky Derby, the mint julep. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that is a well-known whiskey tradition that is done
absolutely.
at a certain time of the year. They even have their own cups made for them. Scotland has those too. It's called a quiche.
Hmm.
It's a like a I don't know. It's a Scottish cup that they use for Scotch. But outside of things like that, I can't really think a ton. I mean, like some people don't drink whiskey during the summer because it's too damn hot. Like they do cocktails, and
Right, right.
some people like to put a splash of water in their whiskey. Some people like to put Coke in it. Cocaine. No, a regular soda Coke.
Yeah, I'm sifting through some stuff here, and it basically all boils down to traditions associated with like opportunities to have whiskey. So it's a
Yeah,
tradition to have a whiskey or have a drink for this or for that, and we see that all the time in hunting. Like it's a staple at Camp Hero. You hunt, you come back, and you have a pour. But yeah, traditions are fun. They keep things going. They keep things interesting. Um, and that's really all I prepared to discuss about traditions. We can freestyle the last 20 minutes.
I got some stupid news.
Let's do it.
I like stupid news because it's stupid,
There's a lot of it. That's what happens when you have a lot of stupid people.
dude. No fucking doubt about that. This has nothing to do with people, but electrocuted birds. They're bursting into flames and starting wildfires.
I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that is kind of funny.
I think it's hilarious. I mean, it's unfortunate that we need electricity and that kills birds, but yeah, 44 wildfires in the contiguous United States.
44.
2014 and 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in 4 years there was 44 wildfires started by electrocuted birds.
Bro, I did not have wildfires by exploding birds on my bingo card.
No shit. I thought it was hilarious that it was that high.
What do the comments say?
That common.
Are people serious or are people being funny? Because that
A Pontiac Firebird is a good example of this. I've got a lot of practice solving this problem with my bow and arrow, and to a lesser extent, my slingshot.
looks like everyone in the comments so far think this is some kind of funny joke for some reason.
Yeah, sure do.
PF 100. It's your first day on the internet?
Yeah, no shit. 7 September. Wow, this is a very new article. So that's what happens when you overcharge a lithium battery.
Look at the picture. This is great. Oh, man.
Yeah. All right. There's half a house for sale in Los Angeles that a tree fell on and fucked it up. And I guess there's like wiring falling out of it.
Oh, okay.
It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom bungalow. It is $499,900. It's $500,000. It's $500,000.
Look,
645 square feet.
You could not pay me $1 million, I don't think, to live in Los Angeles with my family.
Hell no. If
Absolutely.
they were like, this is your house forever for free and you get $1 million on top, I would not do it.
Nope.
It's
That's
so
it, huh?
stupid. It
You
just
just
blows
gotta
my mind.
you just gotta put a roof and redo all. You just gotta redo the whole thing.
Yeah, you just got to rebuild it, and then you still only have 645 square feet.
Good lord.
Stupid. This one I thought was disgusting. Do you
What?
see these images?
Yeah, the white sauce.
Those are
No.
parasites, dude. That's how riddled this chick is with parasites.
What kind of parasites?
The kind from eating raw pork.
Ugh.
Yeah, she's been eating raw pork since she was 10 years old, and now that's what the inside of her body looks like.
Do we have any pictures of what she looks like just normally?
No,
Just
that's the
curious
only
if.
picture.
Oh, I'm curious
And
if
this is
she
on.
looks totally normal.
I had to look it up on Snopes to make sure. Not that Snopes is,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but I had to because I was like, "There's no way there's that many," but there are.
That's fucking wild.
Absolutely
Ugh, so
disgusting.
nasty.
And then this one was fun. Man dies after liver removed instead of spleen. And then it says it happens more often than you think.
Better not. What?
Nuts. He went in for an operation. A fatal mistake was made.
No shit.
Could you imagine that? It says Alabama family is living the nightmare after a surgeon removed a man's liver instead of his spleen in a Florida hospital, causing the patient to bleed to death in the operating room. So they opened him up and they're like, "Yep, there it is," and pulled
That
his
one.
fucking liver out. Also, the liver is way bigger and does not look at all like a spleen.
I'm looking it up right now because I know that for a fact myself, but I've just got to.
It's also on the opposite side of the body.
Yeah, I mean they look connected, like they in color they're similar. It's like they're kind of split.
It's
But I
like,
mean, if you're a fucking surgeon,
here's your liver.
you have one job.
The spleen is over here.
Oh yeah, my picture was not showing that quite. How do you fuck that up? I
I
feel
don't
like you'd be
know.
more likely to accidentally remove the left kidney on accident than the damn liver. We're talking about like an organ the size of a chuck roast versus something the size of a sweet potato.
It makes me wonder if he cut this part of the liver out.
Cut
It
something
doesn't.
here.
It doesn't say.
Removed a man. So it says removed. I wonder if this. I don't know. This is a news article, so I guess we have to take it with a grain of salt. It could have just as easily accidentally nicked an artery or cut something in the liver.
Holy shit.
He bled to
Such
death.
an error is not unusual in the United States. A John Hopkins study said operations take place on the wrong body site 20 times per week.
What? So,
Dude.
folks, if you ever needed a good reason to get healthy and avoid hospitals as much as possible, just look up malpractice shit. Good lord, man.
Unbelievable.
Quick plug on
70 years old.
on healthy eating. On under the carnivore thing, I went in today to get blood work done, and my hemoglobin levels were so low they refused to take my blood.
Low?
Yeah, meaning
Wow.
like above 15, they want to do a draw, and I was like at 12, and they were like, "You're good."
Huh.
Or the target was 15, and I was like, not 12. I was just under 15. But
Oh, I thought you meant like you were super low. Yeah, I told you mine balanced out.
Yeah. This happened last time. It was just under 15, and I was like, "Yeah, go ahead and draw." And today she was like, "We're not gonna do it. Come back in a couple weeks, and we'll see how you're doing. If it just continues to do that, I just may not have to do it anymore." It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit doing it. I fucking hate giving blood. That's like my least favorite thing. I stress out about it so much that it gives me like weird anxiety, and then, which is stupid. I hate saying I have anxiety about anything. No, I don't. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I don't have the, remember that feeling that we were talking about that you get? Like, I don't get that feeling at all anymore.
Yeah. I haven't in a while either. I didn't have it this week, or usually it's the week leading up to it, and I haven't had it. I also been going every 4 weeks instead of 6. I was going every 6 weeks, and I talked to my doctor and was like, "Can I go every 4?" So that's been going on. So maybe I just need to go back and go every 6.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to quit doing it. I'm not going to do it again unless I start having that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a smart move. Smart move.
I got one more.
Let's see it.
Mother goes viral for emailing teacher to opt son out of homework. Basically, she got a packet a 15 to 20 page double-sided homework packet in the beginning of August.
Mhm.
That was for the entire month of homework.
Mhm.
And they didn't do it. So they sat down on August 26th to do it, and said it was an emotional mess.
Yeah.
I sent my son's kindergarten teacher a cutesy little email saying, "I'm sorry. Based on the stress, mental, physical anxiety it's causing my kid, we're done."
Yeah. So,
This next generation's fucked.
yes and no. I have opinions on this because I have kids in school. I want to finish reading what they asked. What happened?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't aggressive. I'm just saying
Oh no,
if
no,
you
this is
waited
normal.
until the last day to
Yeah,
do
for sure.
homework, that's on you. You can't just be like, I'm too stressed out for me to do homework. Like, I'm not saying that I agree. I don't know. I'm just saying,
No, I get what you're
you're
saying.
starting a bad precedence here.
Yeah, waiting to the last minute to do things, it does not set good example, and it does not create.
Well,
Good
also
habits.
just like saying you quit. Like, I quit.
Yeah.
Like, you start out in kindergarten telling people that you quit. You're not doing homework anymore because it's too hard. I mean, that's
Well,
just that's
to
a
be
rough
fair,
path.
she said that on behalf of her kid. Her kid didn't say that. So, but she is setting an example and a precedent that when things get hard in the future, mommy and daddy are just going to bail me out, and I
Yeah.
don't have to do it because it's hard. That being said, I have feelings about homework before a certain age, and the kids already spend. My kids wake up and are at school a little bit before 7 o'clock, and we pick them up around 2 o'clock every afternoon. So I get on weekdays, I don't get done working until 4 or 5, whatever that is. They go to bed around 7:30. I get 2.5 hours of family time with my kids during the week. And
Is that too
sending
much?
no, but sending homework and things that they have to spend time doing, sometimes an hour or more, um, because you couldn't get around to it in your classroom. Like, this is family time. Like, this is where I should be able to take that hour to teach my kid how to change the oil, how to change a tire, how to plant a garden, life skills. You had all fucking day and have had all week to teach my kid and have them do these activities. Stop sending it home. We've been very fortunate with our kids this at this school that we've been at, to not get a lot of homework with the kids. But when we switch to homeschooling next year, they won't be doing any of that.
You're making the switch, huh?
Yeah, I think so. In light of just
I think it's a good move.
education system's fucked, man. Like, we all know at this point that it was created and designed to create factory workers.
Yep.
And between the fact that we've seen massive changes in technology and industry over the last 100 years, and very little has changed with the structure of our school system, it says a lot. And
I read something the other day that half of the shit that a PhD learns, like a medical PhD,
mhm,
half of it is outdated and irrelevant. Half of
well,
it.
I believe it.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Spend
because
all that money to get a
these in-
PhD
yeah,
and you don't
these
learn anything.
no, these educational institutions are all about money.
Yeah.
Like pumping students and people through and collecting. They've turned themselves into businesses, for-profit businesses. But looking at the way things are structured, the ability to still teach your kids the important things they need to learn, but then instead of sitting down and looking at a book and reading about certain plants during biology, we're going to go up the street to Cypress Gardens and we're going to go look at some cool shit and we're going to talk about it and we're going to learn that way. Or
Yeah.
we're going to go hunt. There's so many different things you could do. And if you look at the curriculum and how much time is recommended for elementary age kids up through high school, it's like when they're in high school, that age, at most they're doing like 3 hours of work a day. That's it. The rest
Yeah.
of the time is with whatever you want to do. Structured time. They can, we have plans to have property and things like that. I'd rather my kids be spending a couple hours doing schoolwork and then off doing things outside, learning life skills. Go get hurt fucking around with the goats. Go break something. So we got to fix it together. Like, go live life. Let's build life skills, not how to sit in the classroom and live a structured life by a bell.
Yeah.
Because that's what a factory is, and that's what they're trying to produce, are good employees that sit still for 8 hours a day, do their job, go home, and are okay with looking at a thing, a bell goes off, okay, close it. I don't care about this anymore until tomorrow. that's work. That's what they're training people for. And this is why we have a country full of people that can't fucking think for themselves.
Yeah.
And rant.
No, I mean, it's crazy how much we are. I mean, I'm 30, I'm 37 or 38 years
37.
old. 37. So
no, you're 38 because I'll be 39 in a couple months.
Okay. So I'm 38. So it's crazy to me that it wasn't until now that I'm like, huh.
Yeah, right. Well,
Like,
it wasn't
why
brought
the
into
fuck
question.
am I doing this? I need to get out of here. But it's just, it's so stupid. Just because if you think about it, it's just common. That's what everyone does. If you don't do this, it's weird. So it's like, okay, so we all gonna just agree that we work until we're too old to like do anything successful or have fun because you're fucking ancient, and then you retire and you live on a budget. It's like, why don't you just do it now?
Yep.
Like, what if you're gonna live on a budget anyway? Why don't you just, do less shit, own less things,
Yep.
and enjoy life? Because I would much rather, we're looking at this property, and I'm going to build out there and we're going to move to Kentucky. And I would much rather spend time growing my own food than, but it's going to take 10 years probably to get my area, to where it's producing food and I've got animals and everything. It's going to take 10 years.
Right.
So if I wait until I'm 50,
Right.
I'll be 60 before it's done, and I'll be spending the last bit of my years maintaining and building something when I could do it now in my 30s and 40s.
Sure.
And then when I'm 50, I've got a great place that provides itself its own food and saves me money, and I don't have to go anywhere.
Correct.
Because I don't want to go anywhere. I'm over going places.
Dude, let me tell you, I sent Jessica a text message this morning, and let me see if I can just because it happened this way. So I left at 6:40 to head to my appointment off of Core Road in North Charleston, near Aviation, between Aviation and Remount. You know what I'm talking about? Where all those office buildings are at.
Where I used to work.
Yep.
Where you used to work.
What's that?
Where you used to work.
Well, yeah, I worked on the other side of the interstate, but yeah, same area. So I told Jessica, I said, Jessica, I always like to just say her name real seriously and wait for her to say something because it makes her nervous. I just like to fuck with her. She's like, what's wrong? I said, I need to tell you something. And I just left it hanging there for a while again. And she's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I was like, we have got to get the fuck out of this place.
Yeah.
That's what I texted her. She said, you going to be late with a question mark? I said, it's going to take me an hour to go 12 fucking miles. And it did. It took me an hour to go 12 miles this morning, man.
Yep.
Stupid. Absolutely.
The reason I booked a flight today to go to Kentucky this weekend is because the wife this morning basically said, I just had an intrusive thought about killing myself instead of going to work. And like, we joke around like that, but she's normally I've never heard her say that. So that's how much she doesn't want to deal with going to work. And I'm like, why don't we see if we can speed this up some? Because I'm ready to go too. Like, it's the problem is once you have an escape set up and you see that you can see it, but you know that it's like over a year away. God, it's frustrating.
It's tough. Yeah. Well, if you got the means to make it happen now, then why not?
I mean, I just need to go back out there, which I had a date planned in October to go, but I'm going to be going 30 days ahead of schedule. I'm still going in October, but maybe in October we can start cutting down trees and clearing land.
Right.
It's got to get started eventually. So,
yeah, for sure.
I don't have anything going on this weekend. I was supposed to go on that elk hunt and the tags didn't come through. So,
bummer.
I'm going to go there instead.
Cool. You flying up there solo to do that?
Yeah. Nice. Dude, it's hard to beat. It's Breeze, and I don't give a fuck about a seat. So Breeze Airways I think it was $152 round trip.
Really? That's not bad.
And I mean, I'm sitting probably in a middle seat, but who gives a shit? I don't care.
Yeah.
I got to pay to check a bag because I'm bringing my bow.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, it's the traffic here is unbelievable. I don't know how people live where you live. I would lose my mind.
Yeah, there's a small window that you have to get on 52 and get down through Goose Creek and through North Charleston. Otherwise, you get stuck in traffic. And I miss that window clearly. I don't drive into town for work. Haven't in a long time. And I think the more people move out here, the sooner that window has.
Oh yeah.
And it's probably like 6:15 now at this point. It used to be 6:30, 6:40. If you left, you were fine. Not anymore. And I sat and looked around the entire time. People are just fucking miserable.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to sit in that traffic. No one's having a good time.
Dude, every day I drive home and I take 26, and I would say 3 out of 5 days a week, it's backed up all the way to the bridge. Like
Oh
when
yeah.
I get on at 526, all the way downtown, it is backed up. And I can see people having meltdowns, just losing their fucking mind. Because they come around that corner and they see it, and like their hands go up and they just start grabbing their head, and like you can see them just like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn, and you probably got an hour and a half to go before you
Yeah.
even get home.
Oh, for sure. It can be really bad. I mean, there were times, and this was 10 years ago before it got as bad as it did, and that area still got bad. Where I was working closer to West Ashley. The company I worked for had like an annex facility because the office that we had was too full. So they put a number of us that were on a team out there, and the reason being is because it had a separate network that wasn't part of our corporate network that allowed us to do some testing and use tools that were not allowed on the other network. So it was kind of a strategic move to move us out there. But yeah, for every day for almost a year, I would have to get on 526, drive to get on 26 to head up to here. And once you get on that exit to get on 526 on a 26, traffic every time. And it's always been that way. That intersection is terrible, and it's not getting any better with the number of people that have moved here.
It's crazy how many people have moved here now.
Yeah, I made a joke that they need the big image of, was it John Candy from National Lampoon Summer Vacation when they get to the park? Sorry, folks, park's closed.
Yeah.
They need a big sign like that just says, "Sorry, folks, Charleston's closed," like somewhere up 26. Because
it's funny, it's every day, because I do like to check Reddit. I get in there and talk shit sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's almost every day somebody's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about moving to Charleston," and then everybody in the comments are like, "You don't." The other thing too is they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to move. I want to live downtown because that's the whole reason I'm moving here. I make $32,000 a year. I don't want any roommate. I can do $1,500 a month for an apartment for like a 1-bedroom." And it's like, it makes me laugh because I'll just sit there and
bless your
I'll
heart.
just keep refreshing it.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucked. What do you think it would, how much do you think you would have to make to live downtown on singular person?
Downtown as a single young professional?
Yeah. I bet you 60, 80 grand probably. It probably
at least like you have to minimum, and at that price you're going to be
broke as fuck.
Yeah, you're going to be eating ramen, and you're going to be snagging what you can at the work potlucks to bring home.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be living it rough for a little while, but you'll be independent. You'll be doing your thing. But yeah, 80 grand easy.
You'll be living downtown. Your car's going to get tore up because the roads are small and nobody knows how to drive. You're going to replace your mirrors all the time because people are going to blow your mirrors off.
The cost of living here has gone up substantially. And and the cost of living has gone up across the country with inflation and
my house
the housing market. Yeah, the housing market, right? So I think that's part of the problem. Is a lot of people here want to leave, but people are getting raked over the coals financially, living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't afford to put enough money aside to make that move, right? Because you've moved enough. You got to have some money to the side to pay for the rental, to pay for that down payment or deposit on a new place. Like
on a house.
It takes funds to make that move happen. And when you're stuck paying $3,000 a month for a 3-bedroom rental house, like it's hard to put that money a fucking side, man.
Yeah,
it's tough. And there was someone around here that posted, and people were luckily very nice to the young lady. But she's a single mom with a kid, and she's like, I'm looking for a place to rent for $1,500 a month. And we're talking out here in Monk's Corner, like Goose Creek area. And that's still, you can't find that out here, which is crazy to say for where I'm at.
It is crazy.
But the amount of infrastructure that's being built up out of like the things that are out here now and that are planned, like they're turning it at some point between what they're building here, what's already in Somerville, and what they've got in the Cane Bay Nexton area. They've got Pugins out there now, Swig and Swine, Hall's Chop House, Taco Boy. There's a bunch of stuff up here now. People won't need to go downtown for those things, and so it's driving the cost and the price of things up here because there's more things and reason to live up here.
Yep. I see on Reddit where people are like, where should I move? And people kind of break down the areas, and they're like, but a lot of people say Somerville, and I think it's because a lot of people live in Somerville,
Yeah.
and they want to be happy with their decision. But, and I understand that people do it for schools. I get it. But
That's the big
my favorite thing is when they go, it's great. It's 45 minutes to the beach. And then I go, in what world? Because I live 3 miles from Folly Beach. On Saturday,
Yeah,
I'm 45 minutes from the beach.
Yeah.
It'll take me 45 minutes to get there on a Saturday.
Yeah, my answer to that is it's 45 minutes to the beach at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday.
100%. During a hurricane, it's 45
Yeah, right.
minutes to the
When everyone's going the opposite fucking direction, it'll
Yeah.
take you 45 minutes. But no, not anymore. It used to be when I moved here. The breakdown was like Mount Pleasant was what Mount Pleasant is today. Downtown it's downtown, not just
I feel
anyone's
bad
living.
for people who live in Mount Pleasant.
It's right. It's yeah.
It's terrible.
It's not what it used to be. I'll say that.
No.
Downtown is downtown, right? You can't. It's not everybody. Not any. Most people cannot afford to live downtown. It's crazy. If you're living downtown right now, you're either a college kid living with a bunch of other people, mommy and daddy's paying for or you're doing very well for yourself.
Yeah.
West Ashley, you know where you're at. They had, Johns Island, James Island, all those areas out there. Those were different areas with different feel. Somerville was always, and Goose Creek, Monk's Corner was like, hey, if you have a family, if you need a bigger home, and you're doing everything, these areas are a little bit more affordable, and you can still get to all the other stuff. And
it was also like the country.
Well, Monk's Corner and Goose Creek kind of was. It's not anymore. It's getting so
it's a
grown up.
Because
and then Somerville is, Somerville had a lot of big neighborhoods. So it's like that's a place to go find a nice neighborhood. That district has some of the best schools in the state, actually. So that was a big attraction for families out there, but I don't even know if that's the case anymore, man.
Yeah, it probably isn't. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's how I feel about that.
I'm trying to get out of here. It's like, it's just everything about it is frustrating. The only upside is that my house, I have so much equity in my house. Like, I mean, so much. My house doubled. I mean, I'm literally going to walk out of here after commission and everything with enough to probably pay off the majority of the next place.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean, but like I couldn't afford to buy. That's the only thing about it is like, if we leave, like we're gone forever. We're never going to afford to come back here.
No, I'm not coming back here.
I mean, I'm not coming back here anyway, but yeah, I'm really sick of this place. It has lost its charm. There's no Southern charm here anymore other than the TV show.
Is that still on?
I don't know. I just know it used to be a show.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
Yep. Same. Thanks for listening, folks.
Have a nice day. Don't move to Charleston.